Okay, conduct of business. Our first item is item 10A, adopt a resolution approving the San Bruno Community Foundation 2015-16 budget.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. This item is the next of many previous and to be coming important steps for the San Bruno Community Foundation, and that is the approval of its annual budget as the foundation continues to move forward toward full implementation of its mission statement. As you'll note from the staff report, budget approval is one of your 10 reserved powers that are in the bylaws. And a couple of the other important ones are that you get to review and approve the foundation's investment and spending policy. So for example, that relates to how the foundation funds will be invested, including reserving a portion of those funds perhaps for an endowment and or large capital projects. So that's one thing that you'll be able to look at in the future. Another reserved power in addition to the budget that you're looking at tonight is the foundation's grant-making policy, for example. And what is that? Well, that's a high-level policy that reflects the overall goals and priorities of the foundation. And those goals and priorities are articulated in the mission statement that you developed and spent so much time reviewing on behalf of the city for the foundation to implement. So in this case, the San Bruno Community Foundation did approve the budget that you see attached to the staff report. I've included for you a copy of the staff memo that accompanied it, as well as the detailed description of all of the different items, as well as a signed copy of the resolution from the foundation. It's important to note in that budget, I'll just highlight one thing, as the staff report by the director, Leslie Hadamia, notes, that there is no amount for grants or disbursements from the foundation. And the reason for that is because, as you know, and as the foundation has announced, no decisions have been made regarding the use of those funds, and the grant making and investment policies, which I just referred to, still need to be reviewed and approved by you after they're developed by the foundation. So for that reason, the foundation has indicated they would return at a later date with information about that once those policies are developed by the foundation and then reviewed and approved by you. Leslie Hadamia is here to answer any questions should you have any about the budget, but otherwise staff recommends adopting a resolution approving the SBCF budget under your reserved powers in the bylaws. Great. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions, and Leslie is also available.
Good. Any questions for Mark or Leslie? Ken?
Well, just seeing the reviewing this year's budget, but also comparing it with the end of this last year's expenditures, I'm curious as to what the costs, and I believe it's the consultant costs on the community meetings and the interviews and that staff that we've been seeing, and if we could have a number on that as far as what's that, and that I believe it's somewhat anticipated in the coming year also, if needed.
Right. So we engaged with the Public Dialogue Consortium to help run our community listening campaign, and that contract is for $34,000 that will be completed this fiscal year. We also did budget an amount for, I believe it was $30,000 for potential consultants we might need to develop our grant-making policies, do additional community engagement, but until we receive the report from the consultants and decide our next steps, that remains an open question.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mark or Leslie? Action by the council.
Through the chair, and just so for those people that might be interested and anxious, it does state that there are no anticipation, there are no funds set aside for grant writing or anything, and that once consultants come on and once all of the discussions are delineated and decided on, then they'll bring in someone to deal with how to set up a grant, and then possibly if there is a decision to write grants, then at that point the foundation would come with a revised budget.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's not like we got to wait a whole year before anything happens.
Right.
It's just that. Yeah.
Because no decisions have been made, we
Right.
didn't want to put a placeholder number in the budget, because that would sort of presume that there was some vision, whereas we're still open. But the goal is that we will develop some grant policies to bring before you before the next fiscal year ends, and with that, a revised budget that reflects that policy.
Good. You said it better. Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
I'll make a motion to approve the budget.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell. Aye. Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salazar.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.